That's always a possibility. I know. You got to do. You got to do what you got to do to keep this thing going. So, what'd you hear?
He's not at Jerusalem yet.
No, he is not.
He's on his way.
He is on his way. So, what'd you hear?
He's still telling his or I guess the disciples that what's going to happen. They're trying to tell them what's going to happen.
Yeah.
He's
We again, after Transfiguration, he's he's headed one direction, and that's it.
Other times are different. But how far apart is this
From that? That's a good question. I did not anticipate that one. I have no idea. Yeah, there's parables between here and there. So, I don't know.
Or where is this taking place?
Where he's, goodness gracious. I'm stumped on that one too. I didn't really think about that either. Again, I'm always, this is one of those places where, when you're like a narrative theologian, probably all you're worried about is what he's saying. It's not, I don't care where he's at, but he's on his way. So he's traveling. And so,
some Pharisees came and said to him.
Mm-hmm. Now that I did anticipate. Go ahead.
Uh-huh. It wasn't the Pharisees that were really so opposed to Jesus. It was the Sadducees.
Yeah.
But the fact that they came and were saying, you get away from here because Herod's after you.
Okay. So that's the way you hear it. That this is, and this is a great poll here. I was much more anticipating this. When we read that, how do y'all hear the Pharisees in this story? Are they're trying to warn him? Is that what y'all think? Like this, it sounds like, okay, there's another opposite, of course. Like I said, everybody's got to hear it from different sides. That's the way I hear it. That the Pharisees are actually trying to help him in this case. There's another read on it is, here are the Pharisees again trying to keep him away from his divine path. They're trying to keep him away from Jerusalem.
Why is it impossible for him to
For outside Jerusalem. Where is that important place for Luke? Jerusalem. It has to be in Jerusalem. He can't. Big stuff happens in Jerusalem. And the prophets, and it did happen a lot in Jerusalem that the prophets this was their place. This is the city where they did, because, when you're, well, that's a part of it, and because Jerusalem is that center place. If you're going to be a prophet and you're going to go stir up stuff, you don't do it in some little town in Kansas, Nothing against Kansas, but where do you go? If you're going to cause trouble and you're going to cause a big issue as far as like a protest or something, or cause disturbance, where are you going? Yeah, you're going to go to New York. You're going to go to D.C. Well, L.A. they wouldn't be able to tell. So, yeah. Yeah, okay. I wasn't trying to drag Harrisburg in there. I don't want to make the forum. But I probably just did. You're going to go to that place where that, and so Jerusalem is that place. That's where you're going to go, because that's where you're going to have the most people. That's where it is the center. And for Luke, Jerusalem is where everything major happens. This is it. This is the center of the universe for him.
That's kind of like Rome for
Mm-hmm. Right.
I don't know that as Protestants we have
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Rome would be pretty central to who they are, right? For us, for Presbyterian PCUSA, it's Louisville, Kentucky. And you say, why? Everybody, here's the reason why Louisville is the headquarters. Because with the merger of the Southern Church and the Northern Church, the Southern Church was in Atlanta, the Northern Church was in New York. They did a thing back in the 70s, maybe 80s, and they did halfway. And they found cities that were halfway between, and they pitched to them, and Louisville won. That's it. Where, where our headquarters should be? In the city that has the most churches and the largest, the most number of Presbyterians, like in one area. And you know what city that would be? Charlotte. That's it. Should be. Yeah. Just saying. But nobody's listening to me. So we continue on. So Jesus is telling to him, he's making this, this is where I've got to be. This is where I have to be. Even so, in either read you have on the Pharisees, if you say they really are being good to him this time, because there are some Pharisees their theology is not that far apart. And we do find all through Luke that there is this contention between him and the Pharisees. That's true. But there's also places where they too kind of, fall in on the same side. But isn't that the case, like with all of us, with even people, a lot of times people with whom we really disagree, there are these moments where we have these overlaps and we go, we're on the same side here. This is good. We agree here, nowhere else but here. And we call that family normally in our but not my immediate family, but around family. So, no.
About it's impossible for a prophet to be killed outside of Jerusalem.
Yeah, I think that's more the hyperbole of this is the place. This is where, yeah. And he is definitely trying to pull it, make emphasis on the notion that this is where he has to be. He can't, whether Herod's out to get him or not, I can't go to New Jersey. It's got to be here. Can't be anywhere else. This is where I've got to be, because this is where this is the place.
If I were a prophet, I wouldn't want to go to Jerusalem, because Jerusalem kills the prophets.
That's right. You're absolutely correct. And it isn't that our nature. That is exactly what the rest of us are saying. Don't go there.
So who's talking there? So Jesus is talking, and he said to them,
Yeah.
go tell.
Yeah.
When you get there, he says it's impossible for, prophet to be killed outside Jerusalem.
Mm-hmm.
So who's talking there? Jerusalem, the city that kills the prophets.
That's Jesus. That's Jesus saying, Jerusalem, Jerusalem. He's calling out to his city now.
Well, it kind of seemed to me like somebody else was talking.
Mhm.
They're saying, how often I desire to gather your children,
Mm-hmm.
and you're never one wanting to get in together. You're always wanting to get at Jesus. He's
Yeah.
saying Jesus is always.
Yeah. This is.
Well, I asked you, I didn't.
Yeah, this-
He was saying that.
Yeah, it is Jesus calling out to them now. He's calling out. Now he's saying, oh, Jerusalem, Jerusalem, how often it is I want to take care of you and you aren't willing. Because it's back to this notion that where do the prophets, like when you go back to Isaiah and the like, when they're in Jerusalem, that's where they get persecuted.
So
That is,
Jesus is saying Jerusalem.
he's trying to get Jerusalem, yeah. And the great metaphor that he gives to them about comfort with the hen, we'll talk about that hopefully in a second. But yeah, our notion is don't go to that place where you are going to get crucified. And yet, Jesus says, I got to go. Right. Yeah, he's got to go.
This is going to be the mark.
Yeah, he's told them, and he keeps telling them, this is the journey. This is what I have to do. Nothing else. And it can't be anywhere else. It has to be there. This is the plan. And we know the story. We know how it goes from here, right? He does exactly that. And exactly what happens. And on the way, when we get to Maundy, Thursday, what do we see Jesus do? He goes to the garden, he goes,
You got another way.
yeah, now that I'm here, if we could get out of this, be kind of cool. But this is, as they say in The Mandalorian, this is the way. And this is what he has to do. That is his call. That's his journey. And yet, too, what does he say to the disciples along the way, too? Hey, by the way, if you want to follow me, you have to take up your cross. Yeah, they might not.
Yeah.
But we're post-resurrection, so we should. It's the notion of the call of how difficult discipleship is or can be, that, it's not great bumper sticker theology, by the way. Those bumper stickers will not sell. Jesus bids us all to come and die. So, what else did you hear?
I think the other thing I heard was, he doesn't want to be doing this, but he knows he has to.
Mhm.
He would like to have been the hen
Yeah.
and got everybody to understand what God
Yeah.
is doing.
Yeah.
with them.
Yeah, great metaphor here, too, about Jesus, right? Again, I'm not the farm animal guy, okay? And far be it from me to be talking about hens today in the midst of all of the political discussions over eggs. I'm not trying to get into that discussion. But, so here's this metaphor of Jesus talking about himself. And he uses this hen thing to say, and look, this is what I really want. This is what I really want for my people, to draw y'all in. And I'm assuming, somebody please correct me, because I don't know anything about chickens. We don't have any in the barn at the house. So that's just, there you go. Or in the house either. But, that the hen takes the chicks in to take care of them, and is really kind of protective, right? And that's what you do, or what she does. And so here's Jesus saying, "This is what I want to be. This is what I really long to be for y'all." And yet, you just.
You're not getting it.
You just don't want to be cared for. What an image for us to think about Jesus in this way. Also, what an image it is to say about the disciples, the people who follow Jesus. That's the desire that Jesus wants for us. And we're like, nah, we're good. We're good. Yeah. There's a joke in our family we've always had where, and it is a joke, where we kid each other, like when one of us tells one of the other to do something in the house. Hey, could you do this for me? You ain't the boss of me. And we laugh and have a good chuckle over that. That's kind of what this is here. Jesus, you ain't the boss of me. You can't tell me. You can't tell me that I can come and be in your covering wings and being taken care of. But that's kind of what he's saying to the people, to their disciples, and thus the rest of us. So how is it that we tend to reject that? What are the ways that we, and you don't have to answer that out loud, but that's the introspection, I think, for us to think about. How is it there ways that I don't allow, or I don't allow myself to be a part of God's comfort and welcome? Something to think about.
Is this message for Jewish people? Is the audience the Jewish population?
That's a great question. It is a part of it. Now Luke's overall message is really to lower socioeconomic Gentiles. That's kind of where they feel like the community that receives the Luke's gospel. They're kind of lower socioeconomic Gentiles, folks outside. But he does have these notions throughout his gospel where he does reach out to that Jewish community. Jerusalem, again, Jerusalem is like it is the center of the world for him. Everything is on that. So, yeah. And also, this part, the first part is just Luke. The first two verses, 31 and 3 verses, 31 through 33, only found in Luke. The last part, this Jerusalem part, is also found in Matthew, which makes a lot more sense because Matthew is a gospel written to Jewish Christians. But it's something for, I guess, all of us to hear. And it's also, this is kind of this message where Jesus is saying, y'all, I can't divert from where I've got to go. Even though we've been told, and since we're standing so far over the story, we know where it goes anyway. But he's saying, I can't back down from this. I got to keep going. So, as we do around this time, what does this mean for us as a congregation today? Super. Don't go to Jerusalem. Well, that might not be, it's kind of, this time, not my, I have this one friend who goes every year. He takes tours, and he's tried to get me to go for years. Just recently has he stopped sending me the email because it is obvious. Neil ain't going. It's just, I'm good. I'll watch it on the news. So, but there's some people who really just have to go and walk the grounds, and I'm much more interested in going to Geneva, where Calvin was, than I am there. But what does it call for us to do or to be as the church? Be like that? Mother hen image. Mother hen for God and for Jesus. It's also, I mean, I also have to think about this passage where we tend not to think about, or I don't tend to think of God in farm animal metaphor. But that's cool. But my wife always tells me about when you're an educator, teacher, you have to give a lot of different examples so to connect with all different kind of people who learn in different kind of ways. And so seeing God or Jesus as a mother hen, to some people go, ooh, I can connect with this. This feels good. And so I have to say, all right, let's go with it. But there's this sense of God that Jesus is trying to bring his community together. His people. These are his people. And he's saying, man, we got to come to, I'm there for you. I'm there for you to show you this grace, this comfort, this protection. But y'all just keep running away. So, what does that say to us as a people of faith? Today. That's how we have to see that as a church. That we have to see how important that is for us as God's people. Again, I think of so many times throughout ministry where when people come into these moments in their lives that are difficult, or they're facing surgery, or just having hard places, I just hope I've done enough for God to love me or to accept me. I'm like, that's not the deal here. Because if you're waiting on doing enough, you don't get there. You have this Jesus who's going, hey, I'm trying to draw you in and show you comfort. That sometimes the hardest thing to do is just to accept God's grace. You ever go out with friends and just try to buy lunch for people? How hard that can be. No, you're not paying for me. It's like, geez, hang in there. I mean, Jesus is just trying to buy us lunch, y'all. You know? No reason. He's just trying to be there for us. And we're like, oh, no, we got to earn this thing. He's saying, I'm trying to be like a mother hen and welcome you in. That's one thing for us as the church. What else? We've only got a couple minutes.
Well, the last couple of sentences in there, I tell you, you will not see me until the time comes when you say, blessed is the one who comes in the name of the Lord.
Ooh.
And that's kind of,
Yeah. And when do we see that? Triumphant entry. To Jerusalem, what are they singing? They're singing the psalm. Blessed is the one who comes in the name of the Lord. That's when you're going to see me in Jerusalem. Lo and behold, there we are. I think this passage also calls us to the seriousness of that notion. Hey, we don't want to go over there because that's where people get killed. And he's telling them, even though I do believe the Pharisees are trying to help him here. I don't believe they're trying to be sinister in this moment. And if that's the read you take on it, that's good too. But I think that that there's a seriousness about when we're supposed to do what we're supposed to do as the church, even when it's tough, even when it's hard, even when we know Jerusalem's where they kill us, that we have to just, this is what we're here to do. This is what we're called to do. and we just have to keep going. Easy? No. Because our instincts tell us, papas don't want to go over there because they get killed. And, yeah. But that we have a message that we have to take to the world, and we have to keep going, even when it's not easy.
We also have to be able to take from this, everything's in God's control. I mean, he says, I gotta go do some other things. I don't have to go right now.
Yeah,
My timetable.
yeah.
So it's all in his control.
I think that, you know, and what I'm about to say is probably, I'm going to hear it when I get home, because I am the world's worst, that there is a sense of God's timing that is not mine. And that is greatly unfortunate. That God would think you could do it without me, like, you know. But it's true. There sometimes he's like, yeah, hey, look, I'm good. I'm good. I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, and that is a hard part, isn't it? This timing and this notion of where God wants us and where God wants us at a certain time and place and the like, if that's the way we understand. Yeah.
The hesitation is part. You know, the hesitation of, oh, I'm gonna do this for a while.
Yeah.
I don't really wanna go to church again.
Yeah.
I know it's there, I don't wanna go there.
Yeah. And so and so as the church, I think we just have to work to be faithful and trust in timing too. Yikes. Never easy. Yeah, yeah. Here we are in Lent, and it's a time for us to grow. Personal introspection, you know, and those kind of things. So maybe someday I'll learn to be patient. Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Let's pray. Gracious God, we give thanks for passages that really, really challenge us and call us into seeing who you are as Jesus, this person who is not willing to give up his journey. He's headed to Jerusalem. He's headed to Jerusalem. But while he's going, he is just calling out to all of us that he wants to be a mother hen and draw us all in to his comfort and care. But we struggle with that sometimes. May we be more open to your grace and your mercy, even for us.